This headlight should have cost £1,000 from Toyota, but I paid a lot less than that. This is what £1,000 gets you in parts for the Toyota GT86, and this is everything I'll need to get it back on the road. The first part I'm unboxing is the front crash bar to see if the mounting points line up. Now that we have all the parts, we can now finally get on to actually fixing the car and resolving all of these issues. One of the main things I've got to do first is give the car a service, and the biggest thing is going to be getting in there and actually changing those spark plugs. And the way I'm going to do it is by not taking the engine out or trying to lift it. We're going to take off this cover here and this cover under here, which means taking this little ECU unit, taking these two strut braces out of the way, then that gives access to the actual spark plugs. If you look down there, there's hardly any space, so this is not going to be a fun job. The first thing I need to do is take this cover off here, and I believe there's a 10mm bolt or 12mm bolt down there. There's one on this side, there's one more hidden somewhere in there, but once I get that cover off, I'll show you exactly where these bolts are. So there is a little bracket here holding these injectors fuel lines in. I'm going to take this off and hopefully that'll give me some more space so to wiggle out that case, because at the minute I can't get it out past anything else unless it's attached somewhere, which I don't realise it is. No, it's not, it just doesn't want to come out. So now I need to get to that coil pack and that coil pack, which I think are held in with 10mm bolt again, so that's going to be really tight. I mean, this is the hardest one, hardly any space in there, so I'll do that one first. To do this, I'm using a 10mm socket on a 3/8 ratchet. Yes, one coil. I managed to get the bolt out going through this way, so now I'm going to try get this coil pack out. And I think I just realised I'm going to struggle putting the clips back on to the coil pack. Okay, we got it, yes, got it, score. So these genuine Toyota Lexus spark plugs are 14mm socket, but a regular one. So I'm going to try and get this in there and hope I can get the socket out and the spark plug. Well, this is probably the longest part of the whole process, and I even managed to get the socket stuck. I managed to get the extension out of there using a small screwdriver to pry it off. And now my socket is stuck, so what I've done, I found some silicone tubing in the garage. I am a genius! Done it. So what I did was push the pipe in there, which gripped the socket. Boom. Right, next problem, getting the spark plug out. Right, I've managed to undo the socket some more, get this pipe onto the plug, and behold my genius. We have one spark plug. And now I'll do the same to get the second one out. And that is both spark plugs removed on the passenger side. Next is putting the new spark plugs back in using the same method. So that proves you can change spark plugs on a Toyota GT86 without taking the engine out or without lifting the engine up off the engine mounts. Would I want to do it again? No. But unfortunately, that's only 2 plugs. That took me nearly 4 hours to do 2 plugs. I've still got the other side to do, on hopefully what's going to be the easiest side of the engine. So to get access to spark plugs on the driver's side, first I need to take off what's remaining of the air intake. What should have been a 3-hour project has now turned into a 2-day project, and there's still more to do. Yesterday I spent 3 hours changing out 2 spark plugs on that side of the engine, and I've still got 2 more to go on this side. Now this is supposed to be the easiest side of the engine to work on. So far I've removed the injector ECU out of the way. Now all I've got to do is get these coil packs out and hopefully get down there to those spark plugs. So let's get to it. I've just managed to get those spark plugs out using my magic tool in about 25 minutes. Now hopefully I can get the new spark plugs back in within the next 25 minutes. Second plug going in. So that's the spark plugs finally done. It took me an hour to get these swapped over with everything back in and finished. Okay, I've got to put this back on and the cover back on. That's just a minor issue. That side took 3 hours yesterday. It just shows a bit of patience. You can do the job yourself. You don't have to pay over the top to get your spark plugs changed on a GT86. The next thing I'm going to change is the auxiliary belt and the tensioner. I've got most of the air intake already out of the way. I've just got to take this part off here and then I can get to it. First I need to undo the clamp holding the pipe in place. Next, it's the auxiliary belt covers, which are held on using 12mm bolts. If I pull this way, nope, wrong way. If I go this way, that should relax the belt enough to be able to get it off. And it actually doesn't look that bad. Okay, there's a slight break in there, but I don't want to take the chances because of the impact that it has. So next thing, there's actually a bolt inside of here, so I've got to take this little cover off. So I'm using a size 8 Allen key socket with a 10mm socket on the end of it. So I've got to take this pulley off in order to get that tensioner out. So I've got the new tensioner. So you don't take that pin out until you're finally ready and everything is in place. It's got a locating pin on the back, so it can only sit in one way. And that goes towards the top. I think the torque spec should be 18 foot-pound, but I can't get that reading on mine, so I'm going to go with 14 and then I'll pinch it a bit more. Now that I've installed the new tensioner, I can fit the new belt, making sure it follows the correct path around the pulleys and sits in all the grooves. A quick check to make sure the belt is installed correctly. And now it's a case of reinstalling the air intake. Now finally getting to the good stuff. In order to start making the repairs on this thing, I need to take this part off here first by grinding down this spot weld and a couple of spot welds here. Now I do have the replacement part to go on it, but that is going to be similar to this. So what I'll have to do is drill some holes through here and then basically plug weld it onto this plate and this plate here, and hopefully I'll be able to grind it down and make it nice and smooth so it looks almost OEM. So I'm using a flap disc on a grinder to remove these weld spots. A quick check to make sure it's off. And that's the support bracket off. What I didn't realise is this part here is actually attached to the new piece. So what I need to do is actually grind these points off and then get this off too. If you've made it this far, it's got to be worth a subscribe. You know what to do. So I've now got the whole of this area here completely dismantled. It should look something like this, or at least it will do, hopefully, once it's all that together. You can just zoom into that bit there. That's a witness mark. Looks like this has actually been pushed upwards in the accident, so I need to loosen these and reposition them. Hopefully that will get this back in place, and then I can dry fit. I say dry fit, I'm just going to put these in place and see how they look, take some measurements and see if there's any difference. I've just put this piece back where I believe it goes, and this is where it ends up, and that's where it's supposed to go. But I know something isn't right because it's way off where that is. At this point it made sense to put the new parts on to see just how much difference there is. By installing the bumper bar, it highlighted some big issues. This front end was way off and needed some proper measuring. What I've done to help me out is actually draw the front of the car on a bit of paper and also the measuring points that I need to check to see if the car is straight. I'm not checking every single one, just checking the key points. Luckily the body shop was kind enough to let me borrow their kit for the day so I can see if the car is straight or if I need to send it in and get anything pulled on it. I managed to find a body repair manual with all the measurement points. And now it was a case of measuring what I thought were the key points. This is beyond what I've done before, so I'm definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. While I was taking the measurements, I decided to fit the body panels to see if the alignment had at least improved. It hadn't made any difference. It was just as bad as before. So it was back to measuring again, but this time I was measuring all of the points in the manual. Eventually I worked out that another part was bent and had to be replaced. I've been and bought another bracket from Toyota because it looks like this has also taken a hit. It was a little bit high here, so I think it may have pushed it up and in. If I put this one roughly where it's supposed to go, it kind of shows that this side is actually still quite way off. I don't think that's quite right. It might be just because I'm resting on top of that. But once it's in place, I'm fairly certain it will be right. So it's back to grinding the damaged part off. Now that's looking a whole lot better. So now we've got everything positioned where it needs to be. The bonnet shuts, the gaffer down sides is about 4mm on either side, which is great. The next thing to do is actually start marking out where all the weld points are going to be. So I don't have a pinch welder or a spot welder, so we're going to have to drill out the spot points and then use a MIG welder to weld in place. Before I do that, I'm going to use the old parts as templates so I can make my marks. What I'll do, I'll put a red paint mark on it, and then I'll use this auto punch that's actually going to leave an indent so I know exactly where to drill. Now we've got all the parts prepped. That's going to be it for this video. So join us in the next one when we get everything welded up and painted and hopefully get this car running again. So don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.